Hey everyone, it's Brian here from Massey's Main Entertainment. We're back here again in our continuing series, and we're in part 7 of our 100 favorite movie countdown, which will put us starting tonight. We'll be counting down from number 40 down to number 31. And I'm joined by, as always, by my good friend Doc. Doc, who it's a holiday in Canada today. He wants to make sure everybody knows. So he said, there may be, he tried not to pick movies that had a lot of S's or W's, things like that. He had to stay away from certain letters of the alphabet. So also joined by Rich Strickler. Rich is very happy. Now he's now we've had him seated last week, but he's got a better seat this week, it seems like, right near the aisle. You can just, go to the bathroom easier, go get some goobers and Raisinets if he needs to, and not have to step over any of us. And then finally, I'm joined by Randy Nelson. Randy, who promises he's going to have lots of movies that no one in this group is going to have. So just looking forward to all of that. So yeah, like I said, we're in part 7 here of this series that we've been working for the last several weeks, putting this countdown together. And I got to say, we've got about the same amount of views on a lot of the videos and stuff. And a lot of people, though, chiming in. I've kind of enjoyed doing this, guys. What do you think of everything so far? You think we're doing all right?
Yeah, I've discovered some new movies. Yeah, and that's one of the best things about it.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it is fun. A fun exercise, and it's interesting to see other people's lists. And this is not the best of. This is our favorites. So I think you keep that in your back pocket, and just things that you keep going back to in your life. I think that's very straightforward, man. So
yeah. I absolutely 100% agree. So, and it was kind of nice too to go back and watch some of the ones just to make sure that I definitely wanted them in my top 100. That was kind of fun too. So the order tonight, we're going to start with me tonight. I went last week. Doc, you're going to follow me up, and then Randy and Rich, you get to not only sit on the end of the aisle there, buddy, you get to go last tonight. So
awesome.
We'll try to all set the tone here and get everything going. Please like, sub, and comment down below. Leave us your 10 and count down with us as we go. I like seeing some of the movies that are being mentioned down below by some of our regulars. I think that it's incredible to see the different tastes that are out there. And I really enjoy looking at those lists and jotting things down so that I can get a chance to see them. So without further ado, I'm going to jump in, guys, and start on my list. And let's see how many of these we match on. Like I said, I think there's going to be a few here, though. So let's get going. All right. So for me, I'm going to start off at number 40. I got from Christopher Nolan, 2008. I got The Dark Knight. I got another superhero movie here, but I think The Dark Knight's just an incredible film altogether. It's basically superhero meets neo-noir crime thriller as Batman, played by Christian Bale, has to go against the chaos-driven Joker, who was played incredibly by the late Heath Ledger, R.I.P. to him, and as they do for the very soul of Gotham. Great performances all around by the entire cast. Michael Caine's great in it. Gary Oldman as Commissioner Gordon, really nice supporting cast. So that was my number 40. Number 39, I went ahead and actually I threw you guys a curveball last week when I said I didn't have anything from the Brat Pack in my top 100, but I did. 1985, I've got John Hughes's The Breakfast Club. I think it's a timeless tale of teen angst and archetype type of teenager film where these group of 5 kids have to spend their Saturday in detention for various reasons to contemplate the consequences of their misdeeds. As they spend more time together, these stereotypes that they have of each other start to fade away, and they become, at the very least, understanding of each other, that none of them are any better or any worse than any of the others perceive them to be. And I think that every time I show this to different group of generation of kids, they can relate to it. So Breakfast Club's there. Number 38, I've got Oliver Stone's from 1986, Platoon. This one I jokingly always tell you that I took a girl on a first date to. That was a horrible mistake. It's a harrowing depiction of the Vietnam War, drawing from Oliver's own experiences as a soldier. Film stars Charlie Sheen, William Dafoe, Tom Berenger, whose powerful performances bring life to this intense psychological and physical toll of combat. Won 4 Academy Awards, guys, Best Picture and Best Director. This really solidified it as a seminal war film. Number 37 has definitely been mentioned before. Martin Scorsese, 2006, The Departed. Is a gripping crime thriller set in Boston, centering on this cat and mouse game between an undercover cop and a mole in the police force, both played by Matt Damon and Leonardo DiCaprio. Film features a star-studded cast. Mentioned DiCaprio and Damon, but also Jack Nicholson, Martin Sheen as well. Just some great performances all the way around, up and down it. Really, it's just a whole narrative about deception and betrayal. And I just really well done. This Scorsese at his best when he gets to do movies like this, I think. Won 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director. So number 36, this is one I don't think anyone's going to have. Maybe Doc might. He may surprise me, but I'm not sure. And he wouldn't tip his hand anyway. From 1982, Nicholas Meyer's Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. This would be the only one that I would even consider if we were going to talk about putting a Star Trek movie in my top 100. This one pits Admiral Kirk, obviously William Shatner, against his old nemesis Khan Noonien Singh, which was actually a character that was in the original series for the episode The Space Seed. And this is the continuation of that. The film features these thrilling space battles, deep character development, and themes of revenge and sacrifice with standout performances from Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, and even Ricardo Montalban coming back as Khan. A lot of literary quotes are being thrown around in this film, and I think that kind of gives a really great weight to it. That basically Khan is, going after Kirk as has his great white whale that he is looking to get. Number 35, I've got The Fight Club from David Fincher, 1999. Really this dark, provocative drama about an insomniac office worker who forms an underground fight club with a charismatic soap salesman. It stars Ed Norton, Brad Pitt, and one of my favorite actresses, Helena Bonham Carter. The film delves into the themes of identity and consumerism and a destructive nature of modern society. It's, I'm not even sure how well it did when it originally came out, but it certainly is a cult classic now. Everybody talks about this film all the time and the relevance of it. So number 34, I've got Stanley Kubrick's Full Metal Jacket. I think Rich mentioned this maybe last week, actually. It's powerful war drama that examines the dehumanization effects of Vietnam War on soldiers. The film was divided into 2 distinct parts: the brutal training of Marine recruits under harsh command under Gunnery Sergeant Hartman, played by Arlie Army, very, very well, and then the harrowing combat sequences, at the end of the film, that the recruits that went on to Vietnam. Has Private Joker in it, different Joker that's in Batman, guys, obviously. With its stark realism and unforgettable performances, its profound commentary on the nature of war. I think this is considered maybe one of the top 5 greatest war films ever made. That's just my opinion anyway. So number 33, I think, is everybody has mentioned it except me maybe so far, and that's Roman Polanski's Rosemary's Baby. I may be the last. I'm sure that Rich will check up on that for us. Released in 1968, chilling psychological horror about a young woman named Rosemary who becomes increasingly paranoid about her pregnancy. So it stars Mia Farrow and John Cassavetes. Rosemary starts to suspect her husband and her mysterious neighbors are having sinister plans in respect to her unborn child. It has a very unsettling atmosphere, and you guys had mentioned the kind of like the building itself is almost the character in the film, and that's probably very very true. Number 32, Rich, you did mention this last week. True Romance, Tony Scott, 1993. Really a thrilling love story written by Quentin Tarantino about a young couple, Clarence and Alabama, who find themselves on the run after stealing a suitcase full of drugs. Christian Slater and Patricia Arquette are the ones. The lead actors in the film. Also has a great supporting cast. There's a lot of people in it. Dennis Hopper, Gary Oldman, Christopher Walken, which has a very distinct eggplant scene that everybody should see at some point in their lives. Really has garnered a cult following. It's really interesting if you listen closely. There's a lot of references to other Quentin Tarantino projects They'll mention characters from other movies sometimes. This one here, I think the only connection I thought of was that Tony Scott, I believe, also directed Crimson Tide, which was about the submarine, the USS Alabama. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Huh.
And then number 31, I've got Milos Forman's 1975. Rich, you'll love this one. Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest? A compelling drama about a rebellious man named Randall McMurphy, played by Jack Nicholson, maybe one of his top 3 performances, who fakes insanity to serve his prison sentence in a mental institution. The themes about individuality and institutional control. Also, really great performance from Brad Dourif in this as well. Won 5 Academy Awards: Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress. From the lady who played Nurse Ratched there. Now that's escaping me, but just a great piece of film, and certainly deserves to be on this list. So that's my number 31. That's my movies.
Fantastic.
Yeah, great list.
Yeah, I kind of figured The Wrath of Khan would be the one where I'm like, I may be alone on that one. I know that's not Rich's kind of sci-fi, so
you never know.
No, not for me, but I mean, you have other ones that compensate for that, overcompensate for that. Cuckoo's Nest, Rosemary's Baby, Full Metal Jacket, The Departed, all classics for me.
Nice.
All movies I've seen too.
Well,
And True
wow.
Romance. Hey, there you go.
Look at that.
Randy's actually seen some of my movies.
A non-shutout on Randy is a big week for you. Right? That's pretty good.
All right, Doc, you're on deck, buddy.
Well, we'll jump right in. Number 40. You guys had it last week. I've got it starting off, and you just finished off with the Jack Nicholson one. I'm going to start off with The Shining at number 40 for me. Kubrick's.
Nice.
Horror psychological masterpiece, really, in some senses, man. This is just a messed up movie. All work, no play makes Jack a dull boy, man. This is, Jack is Jack. Shelley Duvall's very good as his wife in this movie. It's just a caretaker that if you've never seen the movie The Shining, then you got to go watch it, I guess, is what I would tell you. But The Shining is, like I said, it's got some really classic scenes. It's shot incredibly beautifully, man, for a horror movie. It really is. Yeah. And at the end of it, you probably just don't want to stay at the Overlook Hotel, man. That's I can tell you. So that's my number 40. Number 39. I think this has been mentioned before, so mine's from 1999, but it's M. Night Shyamalan's The Sixth Sense to start off his career. This is a horror, psychological thriller, almost mystery at times. Haley Joel Osment is fantastic as the lead child actor in this movie. Bruce Willis is great. Debatable, might be one of Bruce's better roles here. This Unbreakable. He's got some other pretty good ones that stand out, but maybe as a lead, this is pretty good for him, man. And Toni Collette's great as his mom too, as Haley Joel Osment's mom. Just about a kid with the ability to see things in life that may or may not be there, and the story as it unfolds with lots of little signals that drop in front of you, tidbits and stuff like that. Really, it's a catchy, really well done mystery, psychological horror kind of flick, man. And if you're in a spot for something like this is probably be right toward the top of the list to go check out something like that. If that's the movie you're looking for, this is right toward the top. Number 38. Yeah, it's a personal list, man. I'm gonna have my comedies that pop up, and this is one of my favorites. So I've got Caddyshack, man. I don't know what to tell you. It's a classic for me. It's one of the all-time funniest movies ever. I think it's got Here's Where I Can Live with Bill Murray. Okay, so this is we'll get that out of the way right now. We got Chevy Chase. I got Bill Murray, Michael O'Keefe, Rodney Dangerfield, Ted Knight. Ted Knight, every time he's on the screen, I think just steals the scenes every time he delivers his line soul as the judge. Just a comedy of errors of things happening. A comedy of errors, a comedy of events that basically take place at a golf course through the summer here, and the caddies and a lot of guys with a lot of deep pockets out there getting their caddies at the old days. This is the way it used to be, man. And, Caddyshack just plays on it in every sense, and it's got that teenage vibe for it. And it's like the right time for me in my life to start watching a movie like this. And it's big. It's high on my list, man. It's one of my favorite comedies ever. So obviously, 37. go figure, Brian, you started talking about it before we started filming, man. I got Predator.
About that.
Nice.
John McIntyre, and I think, he does some stuff, right? He starts off with like Nomad or something like that with, Pierce Brosnan, I think. And it's just a crap movie in a lot of senses, but it's shot pretty neat. And Schwarzenegger sees this and says, yeah, that's the guy I want to make the direct Predator. And then, Carl Weathers and Billy Duke and a supporting cast of guys thrown into the Vietnam jungle here because something's going on. And some guys have gone missing, and then the story unfolds about what's actually happening with the Predator and Jesse Ventura and everything else. It's just classic. It's a guy flick, is what I'm calling it. It's a guy action sci-fi flick. Yeah, right up my alley, man. I want something like this. I'm putting on Predator. I can watch Predator anytime, man. I don't care. That's my popcorn action flick for a guy, man. Number 36 of 1966. We're going to Clint's The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I'm dropping it here. It's a mood. It's a mood movie. And when you're in the mood, this is one of the best mood movies you're going to get for a Western, I'll tell you that. Eli Wallach, Lee Van Cleef and stuff like that. But, the man with no name really shows up here in Clint. So it's this is a patient movie. But the scenes are incredible. The shots are incredible. The cinematography of this movie, it's a Western set in these, the country, the old towns and stuff like this, man. This is a classic Western, if not the best Western ever, maybe. So, like I said, got a soft spot for Clint. And we'll find out as we move along anyway. But yeah, I got The Good, the Bad, the Ugly here, man. Number 36 for me. Just a classic Western. Number 35 goes to 95. The Usual Suspects, which I think has already been mentioned probably before as well. We'll leave Bryan Singer out of this whole picture here, but everything else about the movie is fantastic. Maybe Kevin Spacey, I guess, might be throwing the punch too, but whatever the case, it's still a fantastic flick, man. You want to talk about a mystery, suspense, thriller, almost whodunit kind of thing in one sense of a robbery gone awry, basically at a shipping yard and stuff like this. And, Chaz Palminteri interrogating Kevin Spacey is freaking verbal is just classic. And the supporting cast, Stephen Baldwin, Gabriel Byrne, Benicio del Toro, Kevin Pollak. Like I said, man, this movie just goes. It's a great script. This is what I can tell you. It's a great script, and it's shot really well the way they put it together and stuff like this. It's Usual Suspects. It's a classic crime thriller, man. Number 34, Rich. I have mine a lot higher than I think you haven't had yours, or higher at least. But from 1976, I got All the President's Men.
Nice.
Redford and Hopping getting together here as Bernstein and Woodward, basically breaking the story of Watergate here. With a supporting cast to die for, Martin Balsam, Jason Robards, Jack Ward, Ned Beatty, Hal Holbrook. We touched on it before, Rich, and I probably just used the same kind of context there. This movie shows you what it really was to be a reporter at that time, man. And it's not like it is now, man. This is what it was. You had to break the story, and this is the way they did it. The digging they had to do to go get this thing done. Look at, man. Turn a country on its ear. That's what happened. And All the President's Men is a classic, in my opinion. 33, go figure, Brian. I got The Dark Knight here, buddy.
There we go.
Yeah. You're right. It's the second one in the trilogy. It's Christopher Nolan's, Batman trilogy. Christian Bale's great. The supporting cast is great. Gary Oldman's fantastic. Aaron Eckhart, fantastic. They're all great in their roles. Heath Ledger steals the show, and as the Joker. And yeah, it's a DC, it's a superhero thing. But we've talked about this many times. This has the context of it's a superhero movie. That's a drama. That's what it is. The guy's the Joker. Batman is the good guy. The Joker's the bad guy. It's a fantastic movie, and organized crime never really looked so bad in Gotham until the Joker showed up. I can tell you that. And that really sends the story astray on this one. So I'm going to go to 1986 at number 32 for Stand By Me, Rob Reiner. like these coming of age movies too, Rich. I think you got a soft spot for some of these kind of flicks themselves. So, and this would be my kind of context of a coming of age movie at this time, right? So this is 1982. This is a story about 4 young boys after one of the guys reads about his buddy getting killed and reminiscing about a journey that they went on in their life to find the body of the story of somebody who might have got hit on the railroad tracks, and just the events that unfold along the storylines for them. Great cast: River Phoenix, Kiefer Sutherland, Richard Dreyfuss is the one narrating it. Will Wheaton is one of the main characters. Corey Feldman, Jerry O'Donnell. It's really the coming of age movie of that time. That's what I can tell you. Stand By Me is kind of a classic. Still stands up these days. So, but number 31, man, yeah, he damn well did deserve the Oscar, Randy. It is The Verdict. Paul Newman. Jack Warden appearing again, like Jack. So, James Mason, the story of basically a down and out lawyer, man. That's a drunk lawyer who's just. I'd say this all the time, man. You want to learn how to act, but on this is acting 101. I think this guy shows you how our character develops throughout the whole story, and I think it's one of the best courtroom. It's the best courtroom genre for me. And like I said, there's a lot of things that happen in the story, and ones and nines and everything else. We won't get into it in the church, but it's a great story. Go watch it. The Verdict's a classic. And if you watch towards the end, you might get a little glimpse of little Bruce Willis in the back row there in the courtroom as well. So go check it out.
Nice. So, Doc, I like your list a lot. I mean, I think you need to go kill all the golfers, though.
Check me if I'm wrong, Chad. If I do that, they're going to lock me up and throw away the key.
That's great. Yeah.
Great list.
That's a great list.
I think you're the first one that had all the presidents, man. We talked about in other stuff we've done,
maybe,
but I haven't.
Maybe.
Yeah. I haven't had it yet.
Yeah,
it's coming.
There you go. So, like, I know you have a soft spot for that one too, but I can't recall. But obviously, we've talked about it previously anyway. So,
I just want to make one point about what you said about the journalism, and that's the way they covered stories back then. Now it's all slanted and biased one way or the other. Back then, they just dealt with the facts, dug them up, had a source, second source. But they went old school, and that's what was so great about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, Randy, you're on deck, bud.
All right. I hope my internet connection is going to be okay. I've had a couple of times where it says it's unstable, but we'll see here.
That's Doc. That's just Doc wobbling around.
Well, Rich said that he would like to see a more realistic baseball. Well, this isn't it. It's 1984's The Natural, directed by Barry Levinson, is what I have. It's kind of like a fable, a legend, sort of like Casey at the Bat, if Casey also got shot. I still can't wait to see the scene, because I love to watch this over and over. I love to see the scene where Wilford Brimley and Richard Farnsworth as manager and coach finally let Robert Redford get in the batting cage. It's a magical scene. And it also has a great score by Randy Newman, but it's probably my favorite baseball movie is The Natural.
Nice.
All right. Number 39 from 1998. It's the Coen brothers, The Big Lebowski. This movie never fails to make me laugh, no matter how many times I've seen it. Jeff Bridges plays one of my favorite characters in The Dude, the ultimate slacker. It also has one of the most. It is also one of the most. Can I say this right? It is also one of the most quoted movies. In fact, I just saw Rich use a quote from this movie in a response to the Canadian Stud Muffin on his channel.
That's right.
But
good pickup, Randy.
And it's interesting that they're bowlers, but you never actually see the dude ever bowl. But it's just one of my favorite movies. It just cracks me up every time I see it. I don't have anything else to say about the movie other than the dude abides.
There you go.
All right. Number 38 from 1940. I've got His Girl Friday, directed by Howard Hawks. It's based on the stage play, The Front Page. This newspaper business yarn substitutes a female reporter in Rosalind Russell for the original male reporter, which was in the play and an earlier film adaptation. She is also made the ex-wife of the managing editor, played by Cary Grant, and he wants to keep her with the paper and prevent her from marrying Ralph Bellamy. The movie has to set some kind of record for the fastest talking movie in film history, and often with the characters talking over each other. And what great dialogue it is, too. It's just a wonderful comedy. My number 38. Right. Number 37 from 1939, called The Greatest Year in Movies. This one's directed by a director I don't know much about, Harold S. Buckwheat, and it's the movie On Borrowed Time. This might be the most obscure film I have on my list, but it's just a wonderful fantasy film starring Lionel Barrymore, whose character traps Death, played by Sir Cedric Hardwicke, as Mr. Brink up in an apple tree, all the while trying to protect his grandson from the evil clutches of Eli Malin, playing a similar character to Margaret Hamilton's character in another 1939 film, some you may have heard of, called The Wizard of Oz. It's got some great dialogue sequences between Barrymore and Mr. Brink, who plays Death in the tree, and also the sister-in-law. It's just an interesting parable, and it's one that I think is really charming. 36 from 1994, it's Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. This is my favorite Tarantino movie. I love the nonlinear storytelling, and even more than that is the back and forth banter between characters, especially John Travolta and Samuel Jackson. It's a movie that you don't want to end as you become invested in these characters, even with their faults. It also has some really dark comedy where you're not sure that you should be laughing or not. But just a wonderful film by Quentin Tarantino. All right. Number 35 from one of Doc's favorite directors. I've got Woody Allen's Annie Hall from 1977.
Cheap shot.
Shots fired.
Shots fired. Yes.
This is Woody Allen at his neurotic best as he looks back at his failed relationship with Diane Keaton, playing Annie Hall. He is a man who is always looking for things to go wrong, and it is often a self-fulfilling prophecy. I think it's one of his best comic love story, and that's my number 35. 34 from 1942. I've got Cat People, directed by Jacques Tourneur. This is a great Val Lewton production with Kent Smith starring as Oliver Reed, whose new Serbian wife, played by Simone Simon, fearing she will turn into a Catwoman. It's expertly directed it's got a swimming pool scene that is like a master class on how to create tension and fear by leaving a large part of the sequence to your imagination. This film is Tourneur at his best. It's the tour de force in atmosphere, much like a lot of the Universal horror movies were. 33, I have Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb, directed by Stanley Kubrick from 1964. This is classic satire that concerns nuclear proliferation and how easily mistakes can happen. It highlights the absurdity of many safeguards and is as relevant today as it was 60 years ago. George C. Scott as General Ripper and Peter Sellers playing several parts are standouts, but it is slim pickings with the most famous image from the movie. Hilarious, but frightening at the same time. 32 from 1990. I've got another Coen Brothers movie, and that's Miller's Crossing. I think this movie is perfectly made, and it is my favorite Coen Brothers movie. I love the inventive camera work, the often mean-spirited dialogue. Gabriel Byrne spits out some gems, and the magnificent score by Carter Burwell. There are many memorable scenes, such as John Turturro begging for his life out in the woods, just shot beautifully. Albert Finney defending himself with a Tommy gun while the song Danny Boy is playing. And the little boy with his dog discovering a dead Rug Daniels, and you discover why he got that name as well. Above all, it's the dialogue I love, but it's just wonderfully shot, and that's my favorite of the Coen brothers, Miller's Crossing. 31, from 1960, it's Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. Alfred Hitchcock was the king of the thriller and the suspense movie, but with Psycho, he showed that he was just as adept with a horror film. It is still chilling no matter how many times I've seen it for certain scenes. It was unique for killing off a star very early in the film. And it's also famous for the shower scene where you think you see more than you actually do. Just master filmmaking, and that's my number 31.
Of course,
Awesome.
I love it. Of course, there's two films of that I need to see now. One of them, of course, is On Borrowed Time. That's the name of it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm interested because Neil Gaiman wrote his Sandman series, Preludes and Nocturnes, about someone trying to capture death. So I'm kind of interested. I want to see that movie now. See what if he drew some inspiration from that. That'd be interesting.
Very good.
Yeah, I'd like to see Lionel Barrymore in a different role, so I'm probably going to check it out too.
I know, Rich, you got to be happy with that list.
Love it. There's a lot of my favorites in there. I like that original Cat People too. I like the Nastasia Kinski one in the 80s.
Oh yeah, I do too. But I've seen the other one. I actually prefer the earlier one. I mean, I like
the
Nastasia
earlier one's better.
Kinski, but yeah,
the earlier one's better.
Yeah.
Randy caught it with the that pool scene is just amazing.
Nice. All right, Rich, wrap us up, buddy.
All right, let's do it. Several of these have been mentioned. Number 40, I'm going to 1939, the big year, The Wizard of Oz. It might hold the distinction of being the most popular movie ever made for all generations. Just super entertaining. Never gets old. I love that switch in the movie early, from the sepia to the Technicolor, and just everything comes to life in Oz, the Land of Oz. Yeah, Judy Garland and all the cast of characters. The Munchkins are cool. The witch is perfect with the green face and the long nose and flying around with the monkeys. And there's so many iconic touches on that. The great songs, Over the Rainbow, Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead, We're Off to See the Wizard, Flawless, a magical classic. Had to have it on the list. Number 39, Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing from 1989. This is, at the time especially, it was a very daring film. I think, it's beautifully shot, again, in the neighborhood. The colorful characters with Radio Raheem and Mookie and Sal and all these guys, mother, sister, and the mayor, and they all have their own little story to tell, and Spike weaves it together beautifully. It's the perfect combination of style and substance, I think, in a film, a landmark film, powerful climax. And I think it's, to this day, Spike Lee's best film by a wide margin. He's had some good ones, but that's the one that stands on top. Number 38, I know, maybe a little schmaltzy for some, but I'm taking it anyway. And that's Rain Man from 1988, directed by Barry Levinson. I love the two lead performances with Tom Cruise and Dustin Hoffman going toe to toe, playing the brothers. And, if you don't know the story, Cruise is the usual hotshot, self-absorbed kind of guy. Hoffman's his autistic brother, who he really didn't know he had until the will comes out. Dustin Hoffman character was institutionalized, and they sort of bond together. For selfish reasons, Cruise kidnaps him, takes him on the road. It sets off this road trip that's really the heart of the movie. Very emotional at times, funny. It's got some good lines in it. But Cruise and Hoffman, two of their great performances here, and I had to have it on the list. Number 37, maybe my favorite Western, the low-key style. It's kind of a comic, I wouldn't say comic, but it's low-key. It's got some great scenes, and that's Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid from 1969. Oozes charisma, again, two screen legends with Paul Newman and Robert Redford. They're very likable on screen. Butch and Sundance, they get themselves into some scenarios that are, the posse chasing them through the West and the cliff diving, and the shootout at the end. It's just it's great. It's a great movie watching experience. Witty dialogue, very exciting. I also like Catherine Ross as Etta Place in this film, who's Sundance's girlfriend. 36. It is Doc had it, I believe. Yes, The Verdict, 1982. Sidney Lumet. Again, Paul Newman. I think his best performance. Ambulance chasing alcoholic lawyer, looking for redemption, looking for that last case so he can make up for the shit that went on in his life. He accepts this medical malpractice case. He's up against all odds. This massive legal team. It's just him and Jack Warden really against maybe 30 top-notch lawyers. He'll do anything to win the case. The Catholic Church is involved. I just think it's an absorbing courtroom drama and an absolute must-see. 35, Woody Allen's Manhattan, a neurotic romantic comedy. It's brilliantly written, beautifully filmed. The skyline of Manhattan, the architecture is just stunning. This is cinematographer Gordon Willis, who's done dozens of great movies on film, and this is one of them. I think it's a love letter to New York City. The Gershwin score adds a lot to it. Just an exceptional movie. Diane Keaton, of course, as usual, stable at that time. Michael Murphy's in it. Mariel Hemingway is the 17-year-old girl. I know there's a lot of real life stuff there with Woody and his obsession for young girls, but I don't know. At the time, I didn't object to it. It worked in the context of the story, and I think it's Woody's second best movie. So that means there's other ones coming down the road. Number 34. Here's my personal film that I don't expect anybody else to have, but I always go back to it, and that's Five Easy Pieces from 1970, directed by Bob Rafelson and starring Jack Nicholson in one of his great character studies. This guy with an identity crisis. He rejects his upbringing as a classically trained and talented piano player. He turns his back on the family to a degree. He's out meandering, working these odd jobs and unfulfilled relationships. It's the quintessential Nicholson as the angry young man looking for his place in the world in 1970. And again, this has some great scenes. The classic diner scene with the chicken salad sandwich, and Karen Black here adds a lot too as his ditzy, clinging girlfriend. And I just think it's a wonderful, wonderful movie. Number 33, Body Heat, 1981. Absolutely love Body Heat, directed by Lawrence Kasdan. Steamy, a modern day film noir. It's Double Indemnity cranked up to the highest level. Clever, adult script, twists, turns. William Hurt and Kathleen Turner, star-making performances here, I think. Hurt with his obsession with this woman he sees, and Turner with her motive or modus operandi, trying to, I don't want to give away the plot, but she's so sexy and steaming hot. You can choose your own adjective. The title says it all, Body Heat. And that's all you need to know. Richard Crenna, Ted Danson, and Mickey Rourke add a lot to the supporting cast as well. Number 32, Almost Famous, 2000. Cameron Crowe's semi-autobiographical comedy drama about a teenage journalist writing for Rolling Stone magazine in the early 70s, touring with this fictitious band named Stillwater. Great ensemble cast, offbeat, charming characters, tremendous script, and takes you on this wonderful journey. The bus rides, the backstage, the frightening plane ride towards the end of the film. The groupies are great, led by Kate Hudson as Penny Lane, one of the Band-Aids, as they're called. Patrick Fugit plays really the Cameron Crowe character, a 15-year-old boy who lies about his age, and he's traveling with the band here as the journalist. I like Philip Seymour Hoffman and Frances McDormand, and Billy Crudup as the leader of the band. It's just fantastic. A definite rewatchable for me. I can watch this movie every night and get something different out of it. And number 31, I believe Randy had it earlier, The Big Lebowski from 1998. Coen Brothers, right? The dude does abide. Jeff Bridges, he wasn't nominated, but it's arguably the best role he's ever had. as the laid-back L.A. slacker Jeff Lebowski. He gets drawn into this case of mistaken identity, and there's one colossal screw-up after another. Just hilarious, full of laughs, weirdo characters, eccentric people. John Goodman can go off at any second. Steve Buscemi is sort of underutilized a bit. He plays the kind of quiet member of the trio, the bowling trio there. Julianne Moore is this nutcase. Philip Seymour Hoffman is a butler to David Huddleston, who's the other Jeff Lebowski. This is just a classic Coen Brothers movie for me. And it's, again, one of my most rewatchable. So I'm going to put that at number 31. There we go.
Nice.
Great list.
It's a great list. Very, 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 very great list. I knew some of these movies were coming. I just did not know the order.
Yeah,
Yeah, because we've done so many stuff together. I'm thinking, all right, where's it going to come? Where's it going to come?
I hate to repeat myself, but these are my favorite films, and they're going to show up. So
well,
that's
I mean,
it.
that's
that's what it is.
That's what it is.
It's what it is. So
I had Caddyshack, buddy. Now, listen, don't worry about it.
I know. Deservedly so.
right.
Yes.
That's right. Well, awesome. All right, so that's going to do it for part 7 of our series. Join us next time, and when we get together, we'll count down 30 down to 21, and it's getting serious at that point, guys, because it's your movies aren't moving around. There's no place to put anything. So if you forgot something, it may be too late to squeeze it in now. You may want to mention it in an honorable mention time or something. So, but I appreciate you guys joining me again. Make sure everybody like, sub, and comment down below. Give us your top 10, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.
See you.